because women will test you in ways you don't even notice. And these aren't attitude tests, these are instinct tests. So one example is the emotional endurance test. She'll tell you something disturbing or dark or painful or twisted, then she sits back to see if you'll crack. And if you flinch, or if you judge, or if you get uncomfortable, she knows that you're not built for her reality. Another example is the micro disrespect test. Not a big disrespect, just a tiny one. Her tone, maybe a delay, a subtle mock. She wants to see if you'll catch the small things, because the man who ignores small red flags always gets destroyed by the big ones. Another example is the future fake trap. What she'll do is she'll bring up future scenarios semi-casually. Would you travel with your girl? Would you allow this if you had a wife? She's checking your leadership vision, not your plans. Another example that trips most men up is the self-control test. This is when she tries to trigger you on purpose, not to fight, but to see if you can stay composed under pressure, because she knows that a man who cannot control himself cannot protect her. Another one that comes to mind is the social calibration test. She observes how you act with waiters, kids, strangers, and men larger than you. What she's doing here is she's testing to see if your confidence is real or just a performance. Another test that separates the men from the boys is the removal test. This is when she stops giving you affection, presence, or soft. Not because she's done, but because she wants to see if your behavior depended on her attention. That's the test that breaks 95% of men. Another important test is the loyalty versus self-respect test. She does something mildly unacceptable. Not cheating, but close enough to get your attention. She wants to see if you'll leave or stay because you're afraid of losing her. Staying means she loses respect. Leaving means she gains respect. Another test that comes to mind is the can you lead me out of my chaos test. And yeah, I know I just made that up, but listen carefully. What she'll do here is she'll give you a complicated emotional situation with no solution. She doesn't do this to dump on you. No, she does this to see how your mind works, how you strategize, how you stabilize. She understands that leadership is revealed in uncertainty. In the end, guys, female tests aren't always about ego. Sometimes they really are about survival. She wants and needs to know, can this man handle my reality without collapsing? Most men can't. But if you think passing her tests is enough, you're already behind the 8 ball, my guy. Because women don't just test. They communicate through signals, patterns, shifts, trauma responses, validation triggers, emotional reactivity, and silent withdrawals that destroy unprepared men. My entire catalogs of books and courses explains their whole psychology, step by step, so that you guys can stop guessing and start understanding. And you can get this wisdom at datingwisdom.net. Link in description and or bio.